Are you guys ready?
In the words of
Take
Matt,
it away, Captain.
In the words of Matt, John, you are pretty.
Just waiting for somebody to interrupt. Welcome everybody to the Slasher Smash podcast, a podcast where me and usually Tiffany and usually Matt, but not always, make fun of horror movies. That one, say hi guys. Today we have Jourdyn. I'm so horrible at this.
That's instead of saying hello, I'm just gonna go
This is a new one. This is a crazy podcast because I'm back. I missed the last 2 to 3 episodes. Jourdyn's our guest.
Anyways, this season we are going through and we picked the 12 worst movies according to Rotten Tomatoes, horror movies. And we are holding a bracket style tournament to see which one is the worst. Alright, so which one do you want to start with? Do you just want to start with The Haunting of Molly Hartley because we've already discussed that in length, or
Whatever you want to do, host.
Might as well. That was the first movie you watched.
Ah, fair. Just works out great. Alright. Well, plot summary here. After surviving a brutal attack by her insane mother, teenage Molly, played by Haley Bennett, is eager to get a fresh start at a new school, 3 miles away from where they were before.
By the way, she's not eager. Her dad is eager.
Yeah. But they also moved not far away from the institution where her mother was kept. That's
right,
the part that I think is stupid.
No, I agree with you there. I don't think they lived at the institution, though. They moved to this whole new town where there is an institution, and they're near her mom.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't know how far it was away
yeah.
from their original place. They don't really say.
The only thing I got was that the dad didn't want to be super far from his wife because he kept hoping that she would get better. But I think the daughter was under the impression that they were going to be in a whole new town, not anywhere
But
near.
seeing that she was seeing her mom all the time and afraid that she was going to stab her again, wouldn't you move a little further away?
His answer to that was, she's still my wife.
Well, that's also valid.
Maybe they have conjugal visits. I don't know. They don't say.
All right, so she...
well, we know the dad was visiting, but what he was doing, not quite sure.
Right. Unclear.
Some of that. Yeah. All right, attracting the attention of one of the school's most popular students, Chase Crawford. She thinks she is finally fitting in... No, that's the actor.
Oh. I was like, that wasn't his name.
No. She thinks she is finally fitting in and getting her life back on track. But on the eve of her 18th birthday, Molly learns the horrifying truth of her devilish legacy. I don't think she ever felt like she was finally starting to fit in.
No, I feel like that entire week or 3 days or 1 day that she was there was the worst.
No, because
pacing in this movie is rough.
Yeah.
It is rough because it's hard to tell exactly how long she was in this school.
Right. Was it did she come in mid-school year? Are we watching an entire semester up to her birthday? They don't really say. And it's hard to follow. It could be 3 days. It could be 4 weeks. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some good actors in here and actresses.
Not the main one, though.
No, the main one I thought was bad. But although after I did a little bit of digging on her, and she was part of the stuff that people wrote about that was good about this movie was her, the main character. Yeah, okay. I don't understand it either. I thought she was really bad, especially like during the freak out parts. I don't think she did a very good job. She just started breathing hard, and that was about it.
Heavy breathing is key in horror movies.
Heavy breathing. Mm-hmm.
You should see me go up the stairs. You'll love it.
John's always in a horror movie.
Oh, are you getting chased? No, I'm just fat.
I will give this one credit because also I'm comparing it to the one that we're going to talk about next. At least this one connected.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
No,
but it did have a beginning, middle, cohesive. And an end.
It literally it gave us a why, it gave us a what, and it gave us this is a weird supernatural thing. But it ties throughout the entire movie. You don't have it's not just like simply, oh yeah, this is how you end it. Okay, this is it. Oh, now it's not done? Okay, well that's just end the movie. What?
After watching this the second time, I didn't think the ending was horrible. Like I did the first time.
it doesn't
It's-
lead you. It's open ended. It's they left it open.
There's a
so that
sequel,
way-
though. There is a sequel to this one.
That's right. One of our friends said that there was a sequel, so maybe
Yep.
we'll have to watch this and maybe not.
I'm curious to see what happens after this.
The
I mean-
exorcism of Molly Hartley.
Mhm.
In all fairness, guys, it might be a different actress, so it might already be better.
It is a different actress. I looked it up.
There you
Oh
go.
my god.
I like the writing in this one better, although I still think some of the reactions that they had the actors do were a little wild. Like when her mom gets killed towards the end, nobody really seems to kind of give a shit. Like
The dad panicked
Molly
a little bit.
She looks
Yeah,
like she's
Molly
gonna
looked at her and
care, and then she twitches, and then she's like, "No, fuck you."
yeah, and then the dad comes
But-
home. There's a little bit of interaction there, but no, you never see like. Do they just bury the
Remorse.
mom, or did they call the morgue, or did they call the insane asylum and say, "Hey, she got out and she, fell off the railing and landed on a knife"?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be under the assumption that that was just kind of taken care of by the dad as we were watching Molly panic.
Yeah, because she
and
like ran away,
Yeah.
didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then her friends come. Her friend, she comes by later that day. Not much later.
We don't know. We don't know how. We don't. There's no.
Well, it was
Concept
the
of
same
time.
day.
All we know is that it was daytime when she ran away, when Molly ran away, and it was nighttime when.
Oh,
her
so
friend
that had
stopped
to be
over. I think it was the
on
same
her
day
birthday.
because she.
Yeah, it was the same day.
Or
but
the day
you-
before her birthday, rather.
the
Yeah,
dad doesn't
leading up
really
to the
seem
birthday.
too beat up about anything. He's
He
just
seems
like, yeah, I don't
super
know where Molly
sus
is
when
either.
he
Okay.
answers the door.
Yeah, no,
like
Don't.
Well, he
write
also got
his-
knocked out.
Don't write his character in two separate directions. Yeah, but it's not like when the doorbell rang, he fucking came too. You know he was awake for at least a little bit before then. But, like, you can't have his reaction be, like, trying to keep it a secret so that way nobody knows and I'm not panicking. But also at the same time, do you know where she... Why does he have to ask the friend where she is? She's literally at their house dropping off a present for her friend. Why would she know where the fuck
Yeah,
Molly
right?
is?
Yeah.
There's no
You don't-
way.
Bad writing.
she's not here.
It's an
Do
unnecessary
you
question.
know where she is?
Oh yeah, I do. She's actually over at this house. I thought I'd just.
Sorry,
dropped
I
the
just-
present here.
Oh, it was
That's
weird.
so
The
stupid.
writing's
No,
bad.
it's- yeah.
The writing's bad, but it's not as bad as the second one.
No,
I'd have
but
to
this
say.
one
Yeah.
seems like the writing was fought over as it was written one way, but then other influences were trying to change it. This specifically
Which could be
in this
directing or
script.
editing as well. It could have been a complete.
Which
You
is
know, you never know where that shit goes
Fair,
wrong.
but then they're not doing their fucking job because they're not making a cohesive story. You can't have two separate ideas.
They
come in
maybe
and
they
pick-
thought they were having an
pickpocket.
artistic addition and it made it better.
It's
I
called
don't know.
communication, you fucking human beings.
Humans don't know how to do that. Well,
Also, after watching this movie, were they giving birth in a bathroom?
yes,
I
I think they were miscarrying.
she was miscarrying
Yeah.
in the
Okay,
bathroom,
okay.
and that's when the one chick came up and said, "I can save your baby."
If a woman comes out and goes, "I can save your baby," again, I don't know how anybody reacts to that because that's such a wild situation. But for you to go, "Yeah, all right,"
Desperation.
and then the baby does live, and the dad's like, "I don't believe any of that mumbo jumbo."
It's called denial. Okay, these are
Well,
all human characteristics.
gotta
I
put
think
a little bit of faith in it if it worked.
Desperate.
I-
Yeah,
I don't know,
faithful that
because-
that the baby lived. That's
it. I think the fact that the EMTs were there, it's not like the baby was just laying there and then boop, it was alive. They made it seem like, those EMTs were fighting for that baby's life, and then she said that they agreed and it's all fine.
They
So
also didn't give us details. We're just getting
No.
the vague story here.
right. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
saying
true. The backstory is not very clear.
no, it's not clear. I'm just saying I think because it's easy for him to dismiss the supernatural part of it because there were doctors there doing helpful things.
But also, it depends on how he wants to look at it, because he could think of it as it was just a miracle aspect. Like, nothing was actually, there were no strings attached. It was just a weird lady, crazy lady, but a miracle happened. Like a godly
You mean
miracle.
it was the events of her coming back to life or being saved is not connected
Yes,
to this lady spouting mumbo jumbo?
Yeah,
at me.
I think it's very easy for someone to, especially when it comes to religion, it's very easy for someone to dismiss something logical and make it religion aspect and believe in a faith.
A demon pact is logical?
Well,
Yeah,
if you
Tiff
believe in God, Satan's real too, so yes.
But obviously the wife believed. So, like, for 17 years, it had to come up in conversation, like...
It sounds like
we're
she
gonna have to
didn't
kill our
really
daughter in
realize
16
the
years.
truth until she was 17.
But yeah, that's
You know what
the
I
thing.
mean?
We don't know
That's
the
another thing.
specifics.
It's weird.
We don't know the specifics. Is it one of those things where it's like they can go on peacefully living for 17 years without remembering that they have to get rid of the child, and then when she turns 17, everything comes fucking flooding back to the parents' memory, or at least the mom anyway. Or, like, I don't know how that works.
So you don't think in the entire time leading up to the stabbing they ever had a conversation like...
I don't know.
They sure
Get
make it sound like they
close.
haven't, or at least not with Molly anyway. I don't know if they've conversed with each other about it, but Molly sure as shit didn't know anything about it until the day before she turned into a demon lord.
We don't know enough of the relationship of the wife and father to know if they were having arguments. I don't know. They don't give us enough past to give us the details on
and
how
that's another...
that 17 years progressed.
Yeah, that's another thing I would have said here is, like, I think they're putting the emphasis on the wrong part of the story here. We almost should have seen at least more of even a montage of that her growing up over time, and then discussions, and then the snapping point where she's like, "No, I have to." I don't know.
It's like it's
I don't know if that would have been helpful or not.
Think with a little bit of more background, maybe, and
Right.
maybe some background actors, so it made it seem like they were really at a school full of kids.
Well, that too. Or, like, instead of the beginning showing a different family going through the same thing, do just background on Molly. You can still say the sentence, "There were others like you too."
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It would have been
cool
to connect the different cases.
Right.
Somehow.
If you're going to show that, show more of each, not just sprinkle this little one at the front. So at the beginning, I'm like, wait, did they just switch the actors at like 5 minutes into the movie?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
No, that's valid.
And I think if you would have maybe made it seem like she was also being followed by this, because I think they're trying to make it a plot twist at the end that it was a group of, like,
cultists.
I want to say Satan worshippers, but like a cult.
Cultists.
Then that's where she was going to belong. That was kind of the twist at the end. It wasn't a great twist, but
the execution
I think
was
if you-
poor.
Because the execution was
poor.
weird. Like, the kid's like, "Let's run away together." And then he's like, "And I'm just going to sit in this room until she decides to come follow me." And then he's like, "Party?" We're
and
like,
if
what?
They have like a 26-bedroom house.
Right.
Like 2 stories tall, and he's like, "I'll go out back in the greenhouse,"
Yeah.
which is clearly where she'll head immediately.
Mm.
Which she did.
She could have went through that entire fucking house.
It would have been nice to have background on this darkness. Like,
The cult or anything.
What is the purpose
Yeah.
of this darkness? Is it literally like demons are just trying to find a way to take hold of a being to be on Earth aspect?
And
or
that
is
could
this
be
something where it's just, there's a more, like, I don't know, more depth to it, where they're trying to summon Satan to the fucking real world or something, and they have to have the demons possess bodies to manifest power to summon or some shit. Like,
Yeah,
something.
it doesn't
What is the
say what
purpose of this fucking darkness?
It doesn't say what the purpose of the cult is, but my guess is not. My guess isn't to the purpose. My guess is to the reason of the deal made is just to give a deal was made for that person, the baby, to become a vessel for a demon or a dark being of some kind. And the clock is at 18 when they're physically an adult, then because the demon's not going to take over an infant, like that would be useless for it. It would probably stop growing, you know what I mean? So they needed the human vessel to be old enough so they can take over the body. And then from there, what their goal is, who's to say?
And
I don't
that's
know.
when they start growing the tumor in their ass, which contains the demon, like an egg.
Yeah.
Is that what we're getting
It's a
at?
suppository.
Yes.
Demon suppository
Demon
in my
suppository.
ass.
Yep.
But that's the thing though, is they don't, the way that they talk about it, it's almost like it's just, there's this weird thing that when they were brought back to life, it just made it seem like the darkness was this power that activated at 18. It didn't seem like a demon possession.
Like, obviously it did.
Well, yeah, she was a different
thing.
person.
Well, she stabbed herself at 8, like, right the...
Oh, the minute
3
that it
seconds,
took over,
yeah,
and
the 3
then
seconds after
her
the clock
personality
chimed.
switched.
Yeah, so
'Cause-
she stabbed herself, and then all of a sudden her body, like, no, you don't die anymore. And she's like, oh, all right.
Fair.
Yeah, and then she's like, haha, Dad, you're trash now. You know what I
But
mean?
I
Like,
don't-
it's a personality shift.
But why would her dad go crazy? I don't really understand.
She said that
part.
so that way
'Cause-
he would be out of the way. He's in an
She
institution.
said that.
Yeah. She had him institutionalized.
Because
so
even
that
the
way
doctor
she
was
could
like,
just,
wait, what? No,
Yeah.
I don't think that's... And she's like, nope, he's a lost cause. Take him.
Yeah.
You take care of him.
Give
I
it up.
have faith in you.
Yep, I'm good. I'll
Yeah,
just go
it
be
was-
a teenager.
It was a
Bye.
way for her to wash her hands of him and not have to deal with him anymore.
I think the premise of this movie was fine. Yeah, a little bit of better writing and maybe a better lead actress, and I think you could add a decent psychological horror. You could have made it. You could have really made it like is it demon possession or is it a cult? Had her maybe getting followed places by like cloaked figures, and then maybe some
Or
weird psychological.
more voices than just the...
Yeah,
you know.
But this was supposed to be a kind of a fleshed out trauma experience movie.
But why didn't the voices come clearer as she got closer to her birthday? Like, actual words could have been more distinguished
know.
than just...
See, the way people described it from the reviews I read, it was a lot of like, oh, this was a great movie about how to deal with the trauma that your parents induce on you.
This is
And I'm
not how you deal with trauma that your parents induce.
No, and I didn't really
Go to
get
parties,
that whole vibe.
date a boy, break
Join a
his
cult.
ex-girlfriend's arm, join a cult. That's
Not
how you deal
break
with it.
Squeeze it to where it doesn't work anymore.
She
It-
twisted
I
it.
assumed
Pay
it means it
attention.
was broken, but I don't
She
know.
twisted it.
See, oh.
Didn't it make a crunch noise?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
It did, but it looked like she was
twisted
just
it.
going like... The demon strength from the tumor in her ass gave her muscles.
The ass amplifies
As
the
they
power
do.
as it spreads.
So if you notice, the strongest people on Earth have the tightest asses.
John knows. You've done experiments on this subject?
Extensive research.
Mhm.
All right, I want to see who paid attention because this will
Not
be
me.
interesting. We'll see. All right, so
Not John either.
we keep talking about the dad. What was the dad's name? And yes, it was shown and or said in the movie. Otherwise, I would not ask that question because that's a dick move.
I believe you. George. I don't know.
Dr. Tom Felton.
Wrong movie.
Damn it. Trying to recreate one of the lines in the film. Damn it, Frank? Is it Frank?
It's not Frank.
What is it?
Robert Hartley.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really funny because I couldn't even think of what his last name was.
The name
I
is
was
in the
wondering-
movie title.
I was wondering if John was going to be like, I don't even fucking know his last name.
Oh, my God. All right. Yeah, wow. So he gave his daughter his last name. All right. So we learned something else new.
Yep. What?
Shut up. Give me this.
No.
I'm tired.
All right, John, because this apparently got you during the movie, so this is very fitting. So who popped out at Molly at the payphone? Who jump scared Molly at the payphone when she was calling her dad?
Her mom.
Good job. Proud of you. Anyway, Jourdyn.
Mm.
What? This is back during the party. The first party, not the last ending party.
Oh, yeah. Not the birthday party.
Not the birthday party. What got flushed down the toilet at the party?
Oh, it was burritos. Frozen burritos.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What brand?
They didn't say the brand. Shut
They
the
didn't
fuck
say the
up.
brand.
They flushed down delicious Totino's pizza rolls. Not a sponsor.
All right, John. Nice, easy
John.
question because I hated this movie so much. At what age is the darkness supposed to consume Molly?
18?
Yeah, good job. Good
Okay.
job. That's all I had. I couldn't
You
fuck
can be
come up with
possessed by
any more.
demons, but you can't drink alcohol.
What?
Strict rules.
All right.
Very
You can't even buy
gross.
cigarettes anymore. You could be possessed by demons and vote for who leads the country.
Anyway.
All right, moving
Next
on to
movie.
The Apparition from the from the year 2012, when life ended and it all became a simulation, apparently.
Also, 2 pretty big actors nowadays are in this movie. Who knew?
Plagued by frightening occurrences in their home, Kelly, played by Ashley Greene, and Ben, played by Sebastian Stan,
AKA
learned that a
Bucky.
Bucky fucky. Learned that a university's parapsychology experiment produced an entity that is now haunting them. The malevolent spirit feeds on fear and torments the couple no matter where they run. I almost said that sentence wrong. Desperate, Kelly and Ben turn to a paranormal researcher, Tom Felton. But even with his aid, it may be already too late to save themselves from the terrifying presence. They really kind of brushed past the beginning of this movie.
Right.
Like, Ben was with
Yeah, they were friends.
Draco Malfoy
Yeah.
when they released
Or
this
working
entity.
partners, anyway.
Bucky was with Draco.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. But was
They
it
were
not
both
revealed
in
that he
House
was there until
Slytherin.
the later, right? When they saw the video?
Videos. Yeah, the
Yeah.
videos
Yeah.
were where we were like, oh god, Ben was the camera guy! Because, yeah, we didn't see the camera guy in the first part at all.
I personally didn't think this was a bad movie up until about the end.
I've noticed a really big pattern with all these horrible movies. The concept is there. The execution sucks.
It's like they started writing it, and then maybe too many people got involved in the writing process, or the way they edited it, or all that.
I honestly don't
The
think they
ending
had
was
a
bad,
cohesive...
and
I don't think they had a
it
cohesive...
seemed like
how
nobody knew how to finish it.
Exactly. No one had a cohesive plot for what the apparition did. They just were like, oh, that'd be freaky shit. Let's put this shit together. Like,
Yeah.
no, you need
a
a purpose for the apparition.
Yeah, and I thought it was strange that it was like, plot twist, it's not the house that's haunted, it's the people. And it's like, but why?
And that's another thing, though. Like, they said that it wasn't haunting the house, it was haunting you. You gave the apparition no purpose to haunt this person. Except for the apparition just randomly fucking picked this person who wasn't even at the fucking seance. Any of them.
You mean you're talking about the girlfriend,
Yeah.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't get it, because they set it up to be, okay, she's coming after the people that let her out.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay, I get that.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
you know,
That's
I don't
a
know a lot
valid
about paranormal,
purpose.
but apparently they think.
That's a valid
And then they're like, nope, it's coming after Kelly because she's dating.
I think that was an assumption we made. They didn't actually say that in there.
Yeah, because Tom Felton was literally talking to both of them.
But, and then it's just like, no, it's kind of chasing Ben because revenge, but it's also, it just needs to kill.
Yeah,
But
they
that
didn't
doesn't-
make it very
But
clear.
that doesn't make sense because what has been tied to aside from the seance, which is the same as Tom Felton and the 2 other fucking people that were there, and he got one of them, which great. They
2,
got-
technically, they said. He killed,
Oh,
the
did kill
being
Greg,
killed
too?
2 others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then it killed Greg. But it doesn't like.
In that respect, it means it was going after them in a particular order. It got the girl at the seance part.
Well, I think she
And
was
then-
the most vulnerable.
Right.
That's
And
why
then
got
it
her.
went after that other guy, and he was
Greg.
dead. And then
Fucking
Ben's
Greg.
turn. But then it went after the girlfriend first, and he was like, "That's not real. You're fine."
That's what pisses me off. You were at the place where the fucking entity got loose. It stole your girlfriend and ate her with a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, honey, ghosts aren't real. Okay.
I would just like to know more details because then that would explain why Ben is actively ignoring Patrick's calls, actively ignoring Patrick altogether.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't know. I think they put their emphasis on the wrong section of the story again in this one too, because it's like we probably would have benefited way more, or at least also showing what Patrick is doing.
Yes.
Also, you know what I
Yes!
mean? Just
I-
like
Yeah.
There's
these
4
guys are
people.
over here trying to be a suburban family, and
4
these guys
people.
are hunting ghosts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
like-
So that we know that it's connected more.
It was lazy.
The other problem was bad human reactions. It's
Yeah.
if I come into my fucking my kitchen and there's a gigantic beehive size mold fucking
Okay,
thing
for Ben,
growing,
it was terrible. Yes, Kelly did an okay job. She freaked out as rightfully she should have. She was ready to run out of the fucking house the first night this shit was going down.
He's like, all right, well, this thing's growing. I should hit it with a broom.
Yeah, what?
I probably would have called like
an
a
exterminator
mold person.
of some
Mount
sort?
mold. Bug,
Yeah. But then he's hitting it, and the fucking statue from the seance at the beginning of the movie
First
falls
seance
out.
They did, yes.
I would have been like, pack your fucking shit. We're leaving. This place is haunted. But then later the girl's like, I'm not sleeping in this house, and they're outside, and she's like, can we just say what we're all thinking? And instead of him being like, all right, I'm a good boyfriend, I should listen to what he says, he's like, how about I just gaslight this bitch? No, you're wrong. We're not haunted. This isn't a thing. Like, you were at a fucking seance where somebody got kidnapped by a ghost. What the fuck?
And you know when he finally starts listening? When she says, get the fuck out of my house!
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, somebody knocked down my cameras. Maybe I should...
Well,
He
also,
really doesn't...
the reason she tells him to get out is because he lied about a girlfriend.
He lied about the girlfriend, but she was pissed because she was freaking out about this, and he knew about this kind of shit and blew it
That's
off.
fair. That's
That's
fair.
why she was pissed
It's just funny that instead of saying, so you clearly were a ghost hunter and you've been telling me ghosts don't exist, it was, is this your old girlfriend?
They shouldn't have started with that. They should have started with, you did this in your previous, back in college, you knew about this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Also, too, there was a part in the movie where the neighbor's dog gets out and comes in their house and lays in a room and dies. Mm-hmm. And then she kneels down next to it and just put her hand on it and then told the guy, I did everything I could to save him. Bitch,
yeah, that...
Off screen. Off camera.
But
background is she's a veterinarian in training. That's why John's upset about it. She works at a veterinary clinic and she's working her way to be a vet.
Got it.
I'm gonna come across somebody having an emergency and I'm just gonna kneel down next to him and then just be like, well, I did everything I could.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so they peel the tile up where the dog died, and that's where all that fucking mold is. If that's not enough for you to get the fuck out of that house, like if an animal wanders into my kitchen and dies, and then I find mold under the tile,
yeah, I wouldn't stay there.
I'm very burpy. I'm out.
The linoleum was cracked after they came back. It was not there before the dog laid down on that spot and died. The crack was there after, when they got back from the vet.
The ending to this movie. We gotta talk about this.
No, we don't! Fuck the ending!
Yes, we do. Okay, so Draco Malfoy is like, go to my house after before he got killed. He was like, go to my house, there's a cage in there.
I forgot what he calls it.
That keeps out paranormal entities. How do these people know so much about this shit? Like,
but yet be so wrong!
Well, he's like, if you play the recording backwards, since we played the recording forwards, we'll play the recording backwards, and that'll send the entity back to hell. Like, no, I don't think so, but okay. They didn't explain
it well, because they were talking about the what the fuck was it, EEG? They were talking about that, like, because what they did is they had, the first experiment, they were wearing these, like, bands that were to amplify, so instead of it being, like, 4 people watching and focusing on this entity, it was like 400 or 4,000, I can't remember. Like, they were amplifying the EEGs, so they thought that because they amplified it to open up said portal, that's why they pointed it, they reversed it to try to minimize it. This is where it gets really fucked up, because I don't understand how this logic works. You can't just do something happens and be like, oh, let's try it in reverse. It does not work.
The only way that would make any sense is like if they said a specific phrase in like Sumeric or some, you know what I mean? And then but they didn't do that. They didn't use a passcode or whatever to unlock the other world. They were using waves.
That's what I thought they were going to do. They were going to play something in Latin backwards or something. But they're like, no, we're going to play the recording of when we let it loose. I'm like, how does that make sense?
Does that mean Lydia's going to come back from the wall? Like,
right,
what the fuck is happening?
Just, are we still dating?
And how does that make any sense when they did their second seance and that's when they lost Greg? And that was in that fucking place that Tom was like, oh, you can come here and be safe. It was in that same fucking place that's where they held the seance.
Did they say that that's where they lost him, or that's just the being attached to Greg and killed him?
I am getting that from watching the videos that they played. Because they showed, when Tom first started talking about their second seance that they were going to be performing, Greg was in the background. Then, post-experiment, it was just Tom. There was no one else in the footage. Granted, that's a huge leap of assumption there because it could just be Greg went home or whatever the fuck happened. We don't have any details.
Right. And Patrick said, I kept researching this. I kept trying and kept doing these things. So it could be that it happened. I would like to think he would have given up if Greg also perished in front of him. But
I think that's also why. I don't know. But I think in a way he knew he couldn't, because I think when he lost Greg, because that's when he said he took that room that they did the second seance in and he reversed the waves to make a safe room, basically. Yeah. So I think which didn't even fucking work, by the way.
No, didn't Ben disappear instantly?
It got Ben immediately when they went in there because it cut the electricity. Because you see, once it goes dark and the lights get turned back on, she's the only one in that fucking cage.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people from House Slytherin never give up.
Okay.
But yes, Ben's
wasn't even wearing his fucking scarf.
That's true. He lost it part of the way through the movie. Ben's death in this is so...
What was the purpose of his...
lackluster.
What was the purpose of him opening his mouth? Was something supposed to come out?
Something coming
out,
yeah.
Was she supposed to reach in?
So they get to Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy's house, Slytherin. And then there's
just
like
say one thing to describe him.
This is Harry Potter. It's all connected. So they get to his little safety rat cage, which is just a ton of electricity hooked up to a metal cage.
Basically.
Wild.
Yep.
So they get in and close the door, and then all of a sudden the power's cut, obviously. And then she wakes up, she's alone. She goes outside and opens a closet?
That's what it seemed. It was just a closet.
Yeah.
And he's just in there kind of contorted. Also, this movie seems to be very heavily influenced by The Ring.
Yes.
There's a part where she claws out of a washer the same way with the TV.
Yeah.
And then his body was kind of distorted, kind of like they were in The Ring. But all of a sudden, his mouth just starts opening.
Mm-hmm.
And then she runs away.
And I'm waiting for something to come out.
And she runs away, and there's nothing that happens.
And then she just runs away. But then she runs away into the woods. Yeah, so she's in the woods. She comes across the entity who attacks her.
Mm.
Game over, you're thinking. This is the movie. Okay, entity wins. Then it comes to this very... What's the filter?
Sepia tone.
Sepia tone thing. So you're like, oh, she's in purgatory.
Yeah, because they mentioned purgatory.
No.
Yeah, they did mention that this apparition was living in purgatory, so that's not unhinged.
So then, I don't know, in some weird way to wrap this whole movie up, or circle back to something mentioned at the beginning about how she loves camping. She walks to this store. And then she crawls in this tent, and then in the very phasmophobia way, you see the entity kind of wrap its hands around her slowly from the back. And that's it. That's how the movie ends.
Yeah, no scream or anything at the end. It just fades to black, and then all of a sudden you've got this weird, contorted credit scene going, and it's like, what?
You didn't have an ending that made any sense. The story was kind of not very cohesive, and the human reaction to stuff, I know it's a horror and that's kind of the trope, but man, this was bad.
Yeah, no, this movie is why I had to say with The Haunting of Molly Hartley, it was cohesive throughout the story. Everything was tied together. This one, it was like, wait, how did you get that knowledge? How do you know that? Why are you doing this? Why in the ending does she go to what we assume is Costco? Which, by the way, there is nothing. When it pans to her looking at that empty mall, there are no signs whatsoever. They're blank buildings, so you have no idea
yeah.
where the fuck she is. But then she goes in, and you assume it's a Costco. Why is Costco a key factor in this fucking story? Why?
What?
Why is camping a thing? Is it just because then they could have... Was it their way of being able to, when she was like, I'm getting the fuck out, they'd be like, oh yeah, remember, they bought a tent, so now they can use the tent. That doesn't serve anything. That was just a little herring over there. Bye.
Yeah,
But
I wonder.
it seemed like she purposely walked there to die. And I don't get that one.
I think if it is purgatory, I don't understand what her purgatory is. Was she stuck in a desert mall? A desert mall for fucking ever? Like...
I don't know. Or was it, I mean, I didn't see the beginning when they were at the store, but like, is it just like Sith had kind of alluded to in the chat, like, is it just making her believe that none of this ever happened, that she's just here and she's like, oh my God, I can't, I don't know.
I don't know,
they made it seem like it can make you think you're places or believe things that aren't really there or exist
they mentioned
or happened.
that, but they didn't allude to that at all. Like, the only thing
that was an assumption we made as viewers.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can think of is they, and this is me watching it a second time that I picked this up, on their way back after leaving Costco, I think it was, going back home, they had said something about, they were talking about a dream or having, like, your dream as a child. And she had said something about being surrounded by, like deserted strip malls or some shit like that. So it might be that, but again, I'd have to go back and see exactly what the line was word for word to see if it made sense. But if that's all you're going to do is tie that back there.
Yeah. I mean,
I think this movie had great horror elements.
The ambiance was really good. Yes.
It had a really good theory.
Yes, with a solid ending and a little more cohesiveness between everything, and maybe a little, like you said, a little more backstory on what Draco was up to.
Yeah, just having the Apparition a key purpose. It's not just here to just kill things, because if it was here to kill things, it would have went to their only neighbors in that fucking suburban area too.
Yeah,
so...
it was a bad ghost, or I guess poorly written ghost.
Especially because they were like, its purpose is to break through to this plane, but also it seems like it's starting with us as revenge. But they didn't actually say that. So because they just said it's looking for humans to absorb so it can break through and become a part of this world, why doesn't it just go after everybody? Why isn't it a worldwide catastrophe everyone's reading about on the news? It doesn't, I mean... And if it's connected to the portal that they opened in whatever location, they don't really say where it is, because I don't think it was at Patrick's house the first time. They don't really say, I guess.
No, it was on the campus university, I believe, the first time.
So why isn't it just taking out campus students?
No,
if that's where
haunting the college, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it doesn't specify whether it sticks to humans or if it's to the actual portal location, or like it's very vague.
The people that opened it, which that does make sense, but then it doesn't make sense why Kelly was the target initially. It doesn't. Yeah, there's not a clear motive in any sense.
It would have helped if they would have shown Ben because I'm assuming that it went after Kelly, because I'm assuming they're trying to make it more like she's more susceptible. She's a weaker minded person.
Or if she touched
this stuff.
If she would have touched that, and then she would have been linked to the moment that they all, you know what I mean? It's weird.
No, yeah, there's
and
not.
And why did it kill the dog and not the bearded dragon? Right? Is that what we're all thinking?
Yes. The bearded dragon was fine, but the dog walks in for 5 minutes and it's dead. Like, what the shit?
Yeah.
I did think it was a fun concept, though, because the first night that they got back, the cactus died. I was like, ooh, subtle shit's dying here. I was like, that's cool. But then they went to the fucking dog, and then all of a sudden everything's getting terrorized. And it's like, what? The dog's death was not necessary.
All right, Tiff, do you want to go on with trivia?
Yeah, sure. Who did I leave off with? John. John had that question last time, so Jourdyn. How many emails did Patrick send Ben?
Oh, you guys did say that number. 62. I don't know.
Nope. John, you got an answer?
36.
Is that a guess, or do you actually remember? Because it is 30. Okay, it is 36. I was like, you seemed
also
guessy there.
that's another fucking plot hole in this where it's like
Yeah.
you and this friend a couple years back released this fucking entity, and dude's calling you saying, or no, he never called. He just emailed.
He just said,
you need to call me.
He
this
did.
is emergency. You're not safe. Like
Patrick called Ben 3 times. And the third time was when he finally hooked up with Patrick. Like, the first time the first time...
But why are you ignoring that shit? Clearly there's fucked up shit going on.
That's why I want to know what the fucking gap is. I want to know why they got all pissed off. Because then Tom was eager to help them. Like, Ben was pissed off at Tom. But for some reason, Tom was like, let's do this. Let's fucking get rid of it. Let's go.
And also, at no point was Draco ever like, hey, bro, I've been trying to fucking contact you for a while. What the fuck?
Yeah, he's just like, finally, you've answered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird how someone can be like, hello, you're in danger. And then your girlfriend's like, I'm seeing weird shit. He's like, nah, it's fine.
Also, they could have wrapped that whole gap up with that. Like, hey, I've been trying to get a hold of you. What the hell? And he could have been like, hey, man, ever since we lost Libya, I can't, be a part of this. Great. You just answer all those questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jourdyn.
Yeah.
In the ending.
Mm-hmm.
How many tents were on display?
I recall seeing 3.
Correct. There were 3 tents. Dude, that was my last question I had to write after I watched it the second time, and I didn't even have... I was already done with the movie, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck 4th question to put down.
Fair enough.
I thought about putting the poster question, but I'm like, no, John's going to remember that. Now it's not going to be funny.
I hate to say this, but I wonder if they were like, how do we make the ending of this movie tense? And then the guy was like,
tense.
Tense? What if she calls it a tent?
Did somebody say howitzer?
Yeah,
the writer definitely had a thing for tents, because there was a lot of unnecessary tents in this movie.
The people that review the script are like, we think the ending's not 2 tense. And he's like, it's not 2 tense? 3 tense.
You know what? I wish that would have been the joke at the end, because then I would have been like, you know what? All right, I'll give it to you, movie. I'll give it to you.
So amazing. Also, the fact that my lights down here are just randomly going dim and bright.
I didn't even notice.
About this,
That's
after
hilarious.
talking about this movie
John's
is very
haunted.
concerning.
Oh, no.
Damn it. It's the apparition. He caught on to my tense thing.
All right, last question, John.
Okay.
Talked about it, so you better not fucking get it wrong. What was the first thing that died in the house?
The cactus. Sorry, the cigar. Saguaro?
Saguaro. I think it's saguaro.
Saguaro?
Yes.
The cactus.
Yes, you are correct. That's all I have.
Sebastian Stan's hopes and dreams.
Also, yes. That wasn't pictured.
That was the 3rd night. Remember, he's got that will of fucking indestructiveness.
Yeah.
The only thing in this movie that was original was the fact that all of her clothes in her closet were tied into knots.
That
from
was
the
cool.
Apparition. And I was like, you know how inconvenient that is that she has to go and untie every single piece of clothing. I was like, I like that. That was nice.
I would like to know how many articles of clothing she had to actually cut to get off, because she couldn't either untie it or unwrap it around a fucking hanger.
Hell yes. I liked that a lot. That was good. So, voting. Which one are we picking to move on as horrible? I vote for The Haunting of Molly Hartley. I still think that one was worse.
Oh, God, no. You got it.
I think The Apparition had a lot of really good horror elements. I think they're badly executed, and the ending was terrible.
But that's why it's bad.
Yeah,
That's why it's
I'm
worse.
sorry,
because
I'm sorry,
it was
John.
so good and it flopped.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
it inspired phasmophobia.
No.
I don't
you
know if that's
don't
true.
even know what it did. Shut the hell up, John. This is why he only has one girl on the podcast, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know. I would disagree with you, because in direct comparison with these 2 movies, even though the first hour of The Apparition I didn't watch it with you guys, but you guys were engrossed in that movie. You were engaged, and then all of a sudden it was like, what?
Yeah.
I feel like that's worse.
Yep. That's why my vote is going to be The Apparition is the worst, because I just,
Yeah.
it was there, and then nothing.
Yeah.
It was
again,
it's like the movie was developing and crocheting up to be this awesome whatever, and then all of a sudden at the end it was just rags. What?
It was actually 3 washcloths
3 washcloths.
of all 3 different colored yarns.
Fucking terrible. And they're not even great. It's like a neon green with a dull brown and a...
And puce.
If I was Sebastian Stan right now, I would gaslight both of you.
You do it all the time, so it's fine.
No, I don't.
You're
also,
right,
at
Jourdyn.
no point in this movie did he lose his right arm and become the Winter Soldier.
Because he doesn't until he joins Marvel. That's what happens.
First, he has to go back in time and join the war.
That's why he got sucked
Steve
into
Rogers.
the wall. Sucked into a different dimension.
That's when he went back in time.
That was the closet. The closet brought him back. So.
All right, Jourdyn.
Right,
so
I
hold
guess
on.
The Apparition wins.
Officially,
which is
though,
bullshit.
Jourdyn.
Officially, I vote for. I don't know why I had to put my hands up. Officially, I vote for The
Haunting of Molly
Apparition.
Hartley.
No, The Apparition. It was poo poo.
Yes.
I'm putting
agreed.
your voice into one of those AI things where I can just mimic your voice. I'm changing everybody to agree with me and love me.
Don't have permission to do that.
All right,
So-
congratulations to The Apparition and everybody that worked on that movie. You are garbage. So
Your concept
We'll
is
move.
there. Your execution is garbage. Let's just really focus on that, all right?
It was.
Because if your
yeah, it was
execution
rough.
would have been better, The Haunting of Molly Hartley probably would have won this today. But because your execution was shit, sorry.
Yeah.
Good
That's
ambiance,
true.
though. Good ambiance.
We
Again, I
are-
think it was there, but I think because the ending was so disjointed, it can't be better.
Yeah, you weren't.
It can't
You
be.
weren't. Yeah, it didn't. It didn't even have to be a satisfying ending. You can have a good horror movie and everyone dies. That's fine. It is what it is. But when it's not cohesive as to why everyone died or why everyone is the way they is, it's
Or why anything's happening ever at all.
No.
that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so we are finally down to the final 4. Yes,
Holy
the final
fuck,
4.
It's about fucking time.
So it's Alone in the Dark versus Cabin Fever.
Oh, that's gonna
Oh
be a
my
good
god,
one.
it did go through.
That's gonna be a good one.
The Disappointments Room was actually beaten by The Haunting of Molly Hartley, just so you know.
Yeah, that's the last one it was up against.
Yeah.
And I think
So
that's why.
It's funny because it went against 2 movies that are kind of the exact same.
Yeah,
like-
but I think The Apparition dropped the ball worse than the other one. Than the.
I mean, I'll give it to you.
In my opinion, I guess it's way more dissatisfying than the Disappointments Room is, because we could kind of theorize and fill in the gaps, whereas this one we don't.
It's
we
too
can't.
vague.
It's too vague.
Yeah, fair.
So.
And then we have Jaws 3 versus The Apparition.
Oh well. I don't think The Apparition is going to see us to the end, but.
I don't think so either. So
I'll take your
can't
guys'
wait
word.
until-
Hey, if I'm on that episode, we're gonna have to watch Jaws 3 in its entirety because I have not watched it.
Yay.
And The Apparition, as long as Matt's around.
Can't wait to see you in November when it's Jaws 3 versus Alone in the Dark.
I'm so excited for Cabin Fever versus Alone in the Dark. That's gonna be such a good episode. That's gonna be a hard
that
one to
sentence
fucking
has never
choose.
been uttered ever in the history of the world.
No, it's gonna be. Oh, that's gonna be a really good one to fucking go up against each other. That's gonna be really good.
All right. Anybody else have anything more to add?
Fuck this list. That's it.
Yes, agreed. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But
We'll
you
do
guys
it
are
all
sticking it
again
out
next
and seeing
season.
it to the end.
That's because I'm making the boys do it.
I'm excited for
Fucking
December when we get to actually have our little movie award episode where we come up with categories for all these movies and see who best action
You
scene
know.
Alone in the Dark. We're gonna have the category best side boob. Which sons of bitches had dogs dying? All right. On that note, we're leaving. Everybody, thank you for watching and listening. Like and subscribe. Give us a review on whatever you listen to this BS on, and
Leave a comment as to how you'd like me to murder John in his sleep.
I'll help.
What? This is bullshit. We're never doing a podcast with these two again.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
Bye.
Oh, fucking A. I never even said thanks for joining us, Jordy, and all that at the end. All right, add this in. Hey, thanks, Jordy, for joining us for this episode.